whoever makes the government, it's likely to be a coalition because no single party has the simple majority at this point in time. There are different ideologies among the political parties and they might conflict, and Pakistan's current account crisis or balance of payment crisis might deepen. Pakistan is going through an investment emergency. Say that Pakistan needs a very clear direction of the economic model. The current structure of economy is not good enough for 250 million people. That, a weak coalition will struggle doing structural reforms. Well, thank you very much. We are in Pakistan seeing, a transition of political government where, almost a hung parliament at the federation looks like emerging. Now, whoever makes the government, it's likely to be a coalition because no single party has the simple majority at this point in time. So let's look at the positive of this transition first. The positives are that, the elections have taken place, so a lot of uncertainty has really been, removed from the minds of the people. Second is, now the challenge would be if there is a smooth transition of power, whoever, takes legitimate control of the government, that should give comfort to our international institutions and investors and, internal players in the market. The downside, which worries, serious thinkers and serious analysts, actually is that any weak coalition will have to deal with three challenges, and historically, Pakistan has faltered in those challenges. Challenge number one is that they do not only have to complete the ongoing standby arrangement with the IMF, but will have to effectively, and I will repeat the word, effectively negotiate a new program for another 3 years, an extended fund facility. Why negotiation is critical? That ground realities of Pakistan needs to be taken into account. A lot of homework and competence would be needed. And then, a program which is basically favorable to the people of Pakistan to a certain extent can be negotiated. So my worry is that with a weak, fragmented coalition, that negotiation might not be, effective because A, homework is not done. B, there are different ideologies among the political parties and they might conflict, and Pakistan's current account crisis or balance of payment crisis might deepen. So that's the biggest worry of coming. And international institutions are also worried, A, on the legitimacy of the new government coalition. Second is the authority. That can they really manage if there are three different governments in the provinces and a weak coalition, with responsibilities less clear at the federation. The second challenge is investor confidence. Pakistan is going through an investment emergency very clearly because neither the local investors are expanding the current economic base, nor the foreign investors, particularly in private space, are coming to help Pakistan revive its economy. Investors look at three things. Number one, good policies which are competitive with our competitors in Asia, like, Cambodia or Vietnam or Bangladesh. Number two, they really want, consistency of policy, and they should have confidence that policies should remain consistent. And number three is that in case of any dispute or repatriation of their profits, there should be a smooth functioning system. Now, can the new coalition deliver on these fronts? I very much worry because in manifestos, this was not clear that how would they deal with it. And if Pakistan does not attract investment, we continue borrowing more money where there's very little space left in the kitty. And that is the second, largest element of Pakistan's economic revival. Otherwise, at 2% growth, Pakistan will remain stuck in a recessionary phase, and with a very young population, where 3 million young boys and girls coming in the labor market, unless the market pie expands, wealth is created, it's very difficult to create jobs for them. Third is the coordination factor, where provinces need to work very closely with the federation, because after 18th Amendment, the tourism, the industry, number of things are devolved. So if we have a government different in KPK, different in Punjab, different in Sindh, who will convene all that? So these are three big fears or challenges which political instability will cause to Pakistan. Now, this is not new to countries. Political flux is happening in many countries. In terms of how to deal with it, what countries do is that they strengthen institutions and delegate economic management to institutions of economic management and governance. For instance, State Bank of Pakistan, FBR, Board of Investment, Planning Commission, Privatization Commission. If these institutions are strengthened with strong heads and delegated from politics, people will start trusting the institution regardless of the volatility of the politics. That is the institutional solution. Pakistan has attempted this Special Investment Facilitation Council, but that's more of a coordination mechanism. So my advice would be that strengthen the institution, delegate economic decisions to them, put people who inspire market confidence, and each party or coalition should support those institutional actions. That will revive the confidence, because on a weak political side, it will be very difficult for investors to trust the political discourse which has different thinking. For example, when I speak of fragmentation, is that basically in the power game, one party believes in liberalization or privatization. The other party believes basically against it. And we have seen it in the past that Pakistan People Party is mostly against the privatization. Now, who can, deal with this fragmented thinking and have a shared stance? And that is a challenge for any coalition. So one answer is stronger institutions, and that is the sustainable answer. And institutions should be given to neutral professionals who are given outcome related targets and not micromanaged. Second option is that somehow SIFC can put 2-3 priorities on table and tries to build consensus that Pakistan has to work on our macroeconomic stability, Pakistan has to work on power sector, Pakistan has to complete certain transactions where FDI and local investors can come in. That would be a good start. At least people will see that despite the very weak coalition, which is struggling to agree on the rules of the game, there is a coordination mechanism which is giving a direction. In the end, I would say that Pakistan needs a very clear direction of the economic model, because people need certainty that where we are heading, how we would achieve it, because economic revival is key for our bargaining, positioning in the region, with international institutions, and with market within Pakistan. Unless and until we put a clear direction which is linked to addressing Pakistan's economic fault lines, like the current account deficits, increasing export by 15% every year, bringing in competitiveness, bringing down cost of doing business, and key is that focus on industries which basically add production and productivity and also create jobs. I hope that Pakistani, political leaders and power brokers take a direction which can insulate the political flux from the economic management of the country. Look, Pakistan's fundamental challenge at the moment is that our issues need a structural shift. The current structure of economy is not good enough for 250 million people. So, in order to take a structural shift, we need to do some reforms in terms of which sectors we promote. Basically, how do we stop protecting inefficient industry and patronizing through subsidies. So we need to change the way we do our economic policy, and we need to be competitive, looking at our comparative advantage like agriculture, like IT, like value added textiles. So we need to move towards that side. Pakistan's response so far to economic management is transactional. We try and do some deals, bailouts, government to government transactions. There is no replacement of private sector, flourishing to revive the economy. It is not the state's job to run the economic management. Now, my point I'm trying to make here is that a weak coalition will struggle doing structural reforms because A, they don't have the homework, B, there will be conflicting political ideologies and constituencies. Like PMLN basically protects traders in the urban areas. PPP has a rural vote bank. PTI-led independents basically, again are the younger people in the cities. So how do you convene and bring consensus to bring one or two reforms? Pakistan is not ready for a massive structural shift, but we need to give a direction that we are moving towards a competitive economy, and that is where the challenge of coalition is. As I have mentioned before, the answer is that you insulate the polarized politics from delivery of economics. Like if you want to do privatization, you hand it over to an independent commission, convert it back to an auction house rather than a ministry, and put professionals there. Unless these political parties and powers create space for world class professionals, the confidence of investors and economic revival will become delayed, and which will damage Pakistan, in terms of stability and in terms of, revival of economy.